have to get this done quick before it gets too hot in my room, because I had to turn my air conditioning unit off because it was too loud. So before it starts getting hot and I start sweating, we gotta knock this out. Also, if you see me in the same clothes as another video, mind your business. I will be recording multiple videos in one day because I'm trying to get more consistent for you guys. So, you know, mind your business. So today I basically want to talk about essentially why I moved out of my old apartment and decided to get, you know, roommates, and, you know, just all the problems that were wrong with my old apartment. Starting off, when I went to go view the apartments that I lived in, they had, like, you know, you always have the options between like the upgraded apartments and, you know, the downgraded apartments. And so they were like, oh, it's only like a $50 difference, so let's go view like the upgraded apartments. Y'all, tell me why the upgraded apartments just was not it. So boom, around, I want to say 2023, yeah, it was 2023, me and my sister had sold my mom's house and her land, and so I was sitting on like a little bit of money. And so by that point I was still living with my dad, and so he was kind of like, okay, well, you're sitting on this money, it's kind of time for you to go move into your own apartment. Like, he was basically like, get the fuck out of my house, essentially. I was trying to ride living at my daddy's house until the wheels fall off. I'm not even gonna hold you, just because I knew how expensive it is out here. Like, it's not a joke. You know, it kind of got to the point where I just felt like I was not wanted in my dad's house. So I was like, okay, I started looking at different apartments, because I was like, if I don't move out, I feel like me and my dad are not gonna have a relationship anymore, just because of the stress that he's putting on me. I ended up finding this apartment in a town like 20 minutes from the town my dad lives in. And so when I went to go check the apartments out, the lady was like, oh, it's only like a $50 difference between the upgraded and the downgraded apartments, so I'm gonna go and show you this upgraded apartment. Y'all, I really wish I still had the pictures to that apartment, because I don't think I could have a nice thing to say. And so, like, after we toured that apartment, I was just like, you know, what do the downgraded apartments look like? And so she, like, set up her computer and showed me these pictures of the downgraded apartments. And y'all, it looked so nice. It was like $870 for a 2-bedroom apartment. I thought that was a good deal. And I was like, but in the back of my head, I was like, how do your downgraded apartments look better than your upgraded apartments? I was like, you're basically paying $50 extra to say you have, you know, central air and heating, and being able to put your washer and dryer next to each other. That was literally it. So I ended up signing a lease. Was going, like, the day of, I had to go pick my keys up, right? When I go pick my keys up, she took me to the apartment. I stepped in and I was like, oh no, like, she took me around the whole entire apartment. Like, she was flicking lights on, showing like, you know, all the stuff was there. And then went to the back, and like, my sister had called me, my older sister had called me, the one I'm living with right now. And I was like literally on the verge of tears when she called, and I was like, this does not look like the apartment she showed me at all. I'm not happy with it. I was like, at the time I worked second shift at the job I'm at now, which was like 4:30 all the way to like 1:30, and then I basically lived almost an hour from work. I was gonna live an hour from work if I moved into that apartment, so I really wouldn't get home until like 2 and really kind of not be in the bed until 3. And so I would sleep for most of the day, and then there was like a big playground in the back of the apartment where I was gonna, like, where they were trying to put me in. I was like, this ain't gonna work out, because there's this playground, kids are gonna want to come play at the playground, which is fine, they're kids, but that's not gonna work out because I need sleep, and the last thing I want to be woken up by is, you know, kids playing at the playground. And so that's not the only issue I have with the apartment. Like I said, it looked nothing like the picture she showed me. The cabinets looked fresh out of grandma's house. Either the washer or the dryer, I really don't remember which one, was going to be, like, the connection was in the kitchen. So, like, my washer and dryer was going to be in the kitchen. And then the air conditioning unit, because there was no central air. There's central heat, but there wasn't central airing. Oh, I can show you, because I have one. I have one now in this apartment. So, basically, this air conditioning unit like this was basically in the living room, right? But instead of, like, it being in the window, which is, like, high up here, it was like cut out in the ground, and so it was basically like right here in the ground of the living room. So I was like, yeah, this isn't. I basically told like, what do you call them? Because I don't know if they get called realtors because they're showing you apartments. I'm gonna just call her a realtor because like it's basically the same fucking job. It's just houses versus apartments. So I basically like told the realtor, I was like, oh, because she was basically like, oh, like, how do you like it, this, that, and the third, and she's trying to tell me everything about this apartment. And I was like, ma'am, this isn't gonna work for me. I said, no. I was like, this doesn't look like the apartment that you showed me. I said, if I could get into an, I told exactly her this when I was signing the lease. I said, if you can get me into an apartment that literally looks exactly like this apartment that you're showing me right now, I'll sign a lease, no problem. I said, this looks nothing like the fucking pictures you showed me, bitch. Like, you lied. Like, you're lying to yourself if you think I'm supposed to be happy in this bitch. I was like, of course I wasn't like cussing her out or anything because it's not exactly her. It was her fault, but it wasn't her fault, if that makes sense. So I was like, girl, my air conditioning unit is in the ground. I said, and it's taking up space on my living room floor. I said, my washer and dryer is gonna have to be in my kitchen. That's taking up space in my kitchen. Like, girl, this is not it. And so she was like, okay, well, I could, which, this is what I liked about the realtor. She was like, I can show you something else. I can work it out, but it's going to be a little hard because you already signed the lease for this apartment. And I was kind of looking at her like, girl, I don't give a fuck what I sign. I don't give a fuck what name I put on anything. I'm not living in this apartment. So I need you to help me figure it out. And so she ends up taking me to an apartment that is like literally up the street. And so the people literally just moved out. It was still getting cleaned out because the people like left it a hot fucking mess. And so she was like, she took me to that apartment and she was like, okay, well, this is gonna be available in like a week or two. She was like, it's really messy right now, but you know, they're cleaning it up. So like, just imagine when it's cleaned out, can you see like yourself living in here? And I was like, yeah, this is way much better. I was like, this looks closer to the pictures that you showed me than the apartment up the road. The apartment up the road is not gonna work. So she was like, okay, cool. So we went back to the leasing office. I signed the lease for that apartment, and basically she was like, okay, well, this lady is also kind of looking at that apartment. Did you want to, you know, let her have the apartment and just wait like another month to move out and get into a different one, or do you just want to go ahead and take this apartment? And I looked at her and I was like, I want this apartment. I don't know that other lady from a can of paint. Like, girl, be for real. I got my dad breathing down my neck, wanting me to move out his house. I need to be gone, like yesterday. Of course, 2 weeks later, I moved into an apartment. My dad ended up helping, got all my stuff in there. We was chilling. Then found out that apartment, I don't know if it was just generally my apartment or if it was like everybody's apartment, but my apartment had a really bad spider problem. And I mean, really bad, really bad. It's like you would find the spiders all the damn time. There was one night, right? There was one night, came home from work, got in the shower, was trying to put something on to watch, but oh, that was the thing. The area in which my apartment was in was a really horrible area. Like, no internet companies really came out there, and basically on the paperwork that they give you from the apartment, they were literally like, you have the option between Brightspeed and Spectrum. But even then they were like, oh, Spectrum doesn't come out to certain apartments. They were like, Spectrum has some weird long beef with the old people that used to like run the apartment complex. Because I think just as I was like moving into the apartments, they were getting new management and stuff like that. So I was like, what apartment complex has some weird ass beef with an internet company? Be for real. So literally there was like a couple apartments around me that had Spectrum, but literally a Spectrum was like, we unfortunately don't come to your apartment. So I'm like, how the fuck do you go to apartments around me but you don't come to my apartment? I was like, okay, whatever. So I ended up having to go with Brightspeed. And mind you, you know, I don't have cable. Most people nowadays don't have cable. They have, you know, Hulu and all that stuff. They have like streaming apps. So I was like, okay, I got TVs I gotta hook up to the internet. I was like, you know, I have a YouTube channel. I do like I upload videos and all that stuff. So I was like, I need like unlimited. Like, I had unlimited at my dad's house. That's what I need. And they were basically like, oh, well, we can only give you like 4 or 3 gigs in your area. So I was like, what the fuck? So I had that shitty ass internet for a year. It was horrible internet. Unless you get like unlimited, you can get unlimited from Brightspeed. I would not recommend Brightspeed at all. That was one issue. And so, of course, that night, came home from work, was in the shower, trying to put something on. My fucking stupid ass internet was not working. So I was on the floor, like trying to, like messing with the modem, trying to get it to work. And while I'm on the floor, I see something move out of the corner of my eye. I'm gonna play y'all the video so y'all can see. And then, you know, I'm gonna come back and talk about it. I look over and it's that big ass spider just crawling around my fucking room like he pay rent, like we roommates or something. I'm freaking out because, mind you, by that point it's my first apartment. I live by myself, paying all the bills myself. It's just me, so it's literally up to me to kill this spider. And baby, one thing about me, I don't do bugs. I don't do flies, bees, wasps, spiders, any insect, bug. I don't care what it is. I don't do it. So I'm freaking out. I called my dad. For y'all that don't know, my dad works third shift. So I had called my dad freaking out. I'm like, there's this big ass spider in my room. I'm not gonna be able to sleep till it's dead. But I don't know what to do because I don't want to kill it. But I have to be the one to kill it because I'm only in an apartment. It took me 3 hours, y'all. 3 hours to kill that spider, to like get the courage to kill that spider. Because at first I was in like shorts and a tank top because that's what I go to sleep in. I threw on some sweats, I threw on some hoodies because I was like, what if it jumps? If it jumps on me, I needed to land on some clothes and not my skin. Then I was like, I don't have no spider spray. I was like, my broom's flimsy because I'm not trying to get close up to hit it. Like, I'm scared. And so it had like went into my closet. I was trying to kill it with like fucking oven cleaner. And then finally I like cornered it into this corner, and then I got like the metal under the door sticks, and I basically like stomped it out. And even then, like I had kept checking the corner, make sure it was dead, make sure it wasn't moving. And like it took me so long to go to sleep after that because I was like, what if there's another one? Like maybe it got friends or something. I can't handle it. So basically I ended up having to like call in and be like, hey, I need someone to come out here and spray my apartment because this is ridiculous to be finding all these fucking spiders. And so my dad was like, oh, well, maybe, you know, no one's been in that apartment. I'm like, sir, there was literally somebody in this apartment like 2 months ago. So I don't know what you're talking about. And another thing, my dad wouldn't let me stay with him until they would like come and spray the apartment, bro. He was like, no, this is your apartment. You have to figure it out. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep well. So luckily I have really great friends. I have fantastic friends. So literally my friend Kenosha, she drove from the town that she lives in, which is an hour away from the town that I was living in, and literally came with me to Walmart, literally helped me move all my stuff away from the walls and helped me spray every corner of my apartment so like I would feel better about being in my apartment. So like shout out to Kenosha, that was like my best friend. And so eventually a couple days later the apartment complex did come, and they were like, oh, like where'd you see all the spiders that you seen? And so I showed them, and they literally sprayed those areas and then fucking dipped. I was like, why the fuck did you not spray my whole apartment down? Yeah, pretty much that was like the main issue I had in that apartment. Well, I want to say like the main issue, but it was like a heavily recurring issue throughout the whole time that I lived in that apartment. Another issue I had is like we paid like I think $20 for valet trash. And to me, valet trash is like literally, they have little trash cans outside of your apartment door. You put your trash in those trash cans, and then someone comes around and collects everybody's trash from in front of their door. They did not have that. Literally, there was like one big trash can or garbage dumpster thing at the end of the road, and you had to take your own trash up to that. So I'm pretty much figuring like they either paid for those big dumpsters, and then it probably cost for those people to come out and dump those big dumpsters. So the $20 extra was probably us covering the charges of that, which is dumb to me because I'm like, don't call it valet trash if it's not valet trash. Just say, hey, we low broke and we can't afford to the extra money to pay for this trash ourselves, so we're gonna charge you the $20 to do that for us. I would have took that better than, oh, we're gonna call it valet trash and make people think it's worth paying the $20 when it's not. So another issue I had with that apartment was that literally people would abandon cars in our parking around our apartments. So literally I lived in like a circle. So like, you know, you have a little circle and then the apartments around, and then you have that road coming out. So by the time I left, there was literally like 2 abandoned cars by where I lived. And there's this one, there's really one scary car, right? So there's like, when I first moved in, it was clear. And then maybe 2 weeks after I moved in, this white car appeared and like stayed there for months. And so like eventually I was like driving past and someone was in the car. So I was like, oh cool, someone's about to come like move this fucking car from in front of my apartment. And it was just like this lady would like was literally just sitting in the car was running. She had this weird creepy, you ever seen like the movie Smile, where they do that creepy ass smile and then they like kill themselves or some dumb shit? That's literally what the lady was doing, just sitting in the car with that creepy ass smile on her face, just in the car. So eventually I wake up the next day, the lady's gone and the car is still fucking there. So I was like, oh my god, like what was the point? Had I like stayed and like continued the lease I renewed, I would have brought it up, but I ended up moving. The other issue I had with my apartment complex was randomly I had like got a leak in my carpet. Like it was just one day I noticed it. It was like really small at first, and it was like a wet spot. So I was like, okay, I just put a towel down, moved about my day. But like it seemed like each day it was growing. So eventually I put in a work order and I was like, hey, my carpet's wet, don't know why it's wet, but like I need y'all to come check it out. And so eventually like a month passes by and nobody came out to my apartment. So eventually I had like called the front office. I was like, hey, I put in a work order like a month ago at this point about this leak in my carpet, and you know nobody's came out. And so she basically was like, oh, I see it right here, it somehow got lost in the system. Which I don't see how that happened. Like, lost in the system, what does that even mean? And so she was like, okay, we're gonna like send somebody out. So mind you, this was around Christmas time. This was like the first ever time my friend Alante was coming to my place. Y'all met Alante, I met her in the last vlog. And so we went Christmas shopping together, and she was spending the night at my house so we could wrap them together and all that stuff. And so I got an email. No, I had got a voice message, and I like, you know, on like your iPhone and stuff, like now the voice messages will be, you know, transcribed and stuff. So I was like reading the transcribed message of my voicemail, and it's basically like, yeah, we came out to your apartment, we lifted your carpet up, and basically put a big ass fan under there to dry your carpet out, and it's gonna be there until the 27th after, like, so they were basically like, you're gonna have this, you know, all the way until past Christmas, until we can come back around and everybody's in the office again to come take it out. Mind you, it's this big ass fan in the middle of my walkway with this big ass generator off to the side, plugged up in my shit that I have to pay for, and I know it's taking up a lot of energy because they're big. Like, I wish I would have took pictures of this stuff, because I was so mad that I didn't even, like, I was like, I just want this shit out of my fucking apartment, bro. And so they're like, basically you only have to keep it running until the 26th, but the equipment is going to be in your apartment until like the 27th or 28th. So I was like, oh goody. So I was like, I was super embarrassed because, like I said, that was like the first time Alante was coming to my house, and I was like, my apartment looks crazy because my carpet's lifted up, I got these big ass fucking generators and fan in my apartment. And you know, she just kind of calmed me down. She was like, no, it's okay, like, I understand. So, you know, shout out to Alante, because I was losing my shit. I'm not even gonna hold you. So then after that, they essentially like came back, took their equipment, and put my carpet back down. And literally not even like 3 or 4 days later, the carpet was getting back wet. So I was like, okay, so I told y'all there was a leak, and y'all basically aired my carpet out without finding the leak, and now my carpet's getting back wet again. So I didn't even put a work order in. I just called the front apartment and I was like, hey, my carpet's getting back wet again because y'all never went and found the fucking leak that was causing it in the first place. And so when I was calling my dad and telling him about it, he was like, there's probably a leak somewhere in your bathroom, and it's like somehow connecting to your room. And I was like, well, I don't see how, because you know, the shower wall and my sink and stuff were on like this wall, and then there was another wall, and that's the wall that this wall is the wall that shared the wall to my bedroom. So I was like, I don't see how that is possible. And so he was like, there's probably some leak underneath your bathtub that's like going to the floor of your room. And so she was like, oh, the lady was like, oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna get somebody out there to see and find the leak, even though that's what y'all were supposed to do the first time. So mind you, that same day that Alante was there to you know, go Christmas shopping with me and Rob Gibbs, we found mold in my fucking bathroom. Mind you, I'm asthmatic. Like, you're not, like, don't get me wrong, you're not supposed to breathe in mold regardless if you have asthma or not, but of course it's 10 times worse for people with asthma. So I have severe asthma, and so, and it wasn't even like regular mold, it was black mold. It was freaking black mold. And so my dad was like, okay, we'll take bleach and like dump it and clean it out, and if it comes back, then that means it's in the walls. So I was like, okay, great. So that's what I did. You know, that whole situation passed. You know, the people finally come out, inspect my apartment, find out there is a leak underneath my tub, and that's essentially why my tub wasn't draining. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot to mention. When I first moved in, I had an issue with keeping my shower hot. So I was like, hey, my shower's really not staying hot, and the tub is like filling up with water. So I don't know if it's like a drain issue or what. And so they had came out and they were like, oh, well, your hot water heater doesn't, like, it's just not big enough to keep your water warm. And then as far as your shower getting clogged up, it's because of your shower head. And I looked at him, and even on my face was just like, be fucking for real. But I was just like, okay, thanks. Because I was like, at this point, just get the fuck out of my apartment, bro. Like, just get out of my face. Because my shower is clogging up, like filling with water because of my shower head. Let's be honest. Let's just be for real. So they were like, okay, well, yeah, your drains broke to your tub, so we're gonna come out and fix that, and that's where the leak's coming from. So they like came, fixed the drain, changed the drain out, and then they never came back to clean my carpet. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna come back, clean the carpet, all that shit. Never came back to clean my carpet. Because it wasn't like, it was like, because basically where it started from like the front of my doorway to my bedroom, and it like was like a circle, and then it went all across the wall that shares with the bathroom. So they never came out to clean my carpet again after that. And so literally after like I started showering in my tub, after they fixed my drain, my shower was draining a lot better. Like I used to, before they fixed my drain, I used to stand in like ankle tall water when I was taking showers. And then after that, like it drained a whole lot better. So I was like, oh, so you mean to tell me the whole time I've been in this fucking apartment, essentially, because my lease was up in March and they were doing this all around June. No, not June, July. Fuck, why did I keep, it's probably because those are the months that are coming up. Since around January, that's when they finally fixed it, was January. And mind you, my lease ended in March. So I was like, essentially the whole time I lived in this apartment, my tub's been broke. I was like, this is like unbelievable. And so by that point too, before they had like came and fixed the situation with the thing, the mold had grown back, right? And I was like, it had mushrooms and everything. And I was like, oh, so this shit is in the walls. So basically I think I had put in a work order, and I was like, hey, like you're literally gonna have to cut the wall out because I know it's in the walls, because I already had cleaned it and it grew back, so it's in the walls. So I need you to make sure you do something about that because I have asthma. So I'm not sure if they actually did remove the walls, because it looked like they just painted where they mess with. So I was like, okay, well if it grows back, then I know that they essentially just cleaned it and painted over it. But like I never got around to that point. So essentially, like I knew I really needed to move in with a roommate, because at that point it was just getting like too expensive to live by myself. But I was like, okay, well I can't really find a roommate quick enough to move in with. So I essentially ended up re-signing a lease. And so like I never put any money towards it, I just re-signed the lease. So eventually my breaking point was like, I was literally dog sick, y'all, like dog sick. And I still had to go to work, because I was like, okay, if I don't go to work and I miss out on this money, what bill is it gonna get paid? And so I literally like broke down, called my sister, because my sister and her family were essentially already moving to North Carolina. And so I was like, yo, I need to move, and like, can you let me move in with you? Like, I can't live on my own anymore. It's just too expensive. It's getting to the point where I can't even take off of work, and I'm sick. Like, I'm up here miserable at work, and I was just bawling to my sister. She was like, yeah, yeah. And so I essentially went into the leasing office in May, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not actually going to, you know, continue living here, and I need to, you know, see if I even have to break my lease, because at that point, there's a lot of shit that they don't teach you. This is the shit they need to be teaching you about in school, honestly. Like, just shit about apartments, about taxes, and all that shit. This is what they need to be teaching people in school. So essentially, I thought since I didn't put any money towards the lease, and I never started the lease yet, that I didn't have to break the lease that I signed. And so they're like, oh no, like, you have to break the lease. And I was like, bro, what? They're like, yeah, you're gonna have to break the lease. It's gonna be like $1,800. But yeah, you're gonna have to break your lease. I was like, $1,800 to break a lease I never started is crazy. Like, that is wild. But I was like, because they were like, either it's that or you pay for the apartment still month to month until somebody takes over the lease and like moves in there, and then we can't for sure say how long that's gonna take. And I was like, bitch, I'd be damn if I pay for an apartment I'm not staying in. We're not doing that. So I was like, I guess I'm paying that fucking $1,800 because what else am I supposed to do? And so they were like, okay, well, it's gonna be added on to your rent and all that stuff for like the normal months. So like, she basically gave me the breakdown of it all. And so when the next month came and I had to pay like the extra money, my thing was normal. So I was like, oh, you know. So I called them. I was like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, oh, like, that's weird. We'll have it fixed by next week when you have to, you know, pay your rent. Because I was paying my rent by Flex. And if you don't know what Flex is, Flex basically cuts your rent in half, and you can pay it like, you know, 2 separate weeks away from each other. Kind of like Afterpay. And all that stuff, but like with your rent. And so that's how I was paying my rent, was through Flex. And so at the time too, when I thought I was still going to be staying in the apartment, I was also like fixing up small stuff in the apartment. So in my apartment, I had like a really old fridge. It was dingy as fuck, all that stuff, and it was to the point where it had started leaking. And I have pictures of the leak. I don't know if y'all can see it well, but I do have pictures of the leak. I'm gonna put these pictures up somewhere in this video. I was like, yeah, I need this fridge changed out. Like, if I'm gonna continue living here, y'all need to like new fridge me immediately. And so they ended up bringing me a fridge. They ended up taking out like the back way, because I sat and watched them like bring the new fridge out and take the old fridge out. And so like, I thought nothing of it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna film like you know, a furnished apartment tour, because I never got around to doing it. And unfortunately, I don't know what ended up happening to the video, because I did try to upload it to this channel and it just didn't work out. But essentially, when I was doing the apartment tour, I had, you know, unlocked my back door, because I had a back door in my old apartment, to show like my backyard and my back area that I never really went out there regardless. And the old fridge was out there. So mind you, by that point, when I had filmed the unfurnished or the furnished apartment tour, it had already been like 2 or 3 weeks since they came and replaced my fridge. So I'm like, so you're telling me y'all just dumped this old fridge back here? What if I did use this back area? Like, what if I had company over and now this fridge is just chilling in the back because y'all left it out here? So that would like completely blew me, and I was like, all right, it's a good thing I'm leaving anyways. Pretty much after that, it kind of just leads up to the events of my moving vlog, which I'll put up here in the video. Y'all can, you know, click on it after you finish this video and go watch that. Then once I was like finally moving out, because they actually extended the point of how long I was gonna have the apartment, because like I said, my old lease was supposed to end in March, but they were like, oh, so fix the 60 days that you have to put in before you like put your notice in to say, hey, I'm moving out the apartment. We had to extend it till April, so you actually have this apartment until like April 4th. So I was like, hey, all right. And so essentially, like, I had cleaned the apartment up. So the only thing they took pictures of was the oven, because I forgot to clean the oven. Like, it was in the back of my mind. I was so tired of going up to that apartment once I moved into this apartment. And then I don't know if they took a picture of the shower head or if they were taking pictures of like the sticky things in the shower that I couldn't get out. And so I was like, okay, I get it if it's the sticky things in the shower, because like, cool, yeah, you're supposed to get them out, but I couldn't get them out. So I was like, I'm sure y'all got better tools to get them off than I do. But if it was a shower head, then I was lost, because I was like, that's the shower head that was in there when I moved in. Like, y'all came to my apartment multiple times. I have a black shower head. That's not my shower head. So if you're trying to get me for that, like, girl, that's not my shower head. The last thing that really pissed me off about that apartment was just like the last fees that I had that apartment that I was trying to pay, which like the $1,800. So essentially, when I was like, I went ahead and moved out. Like, as soon as we were able to move into this apartment, I moved in. Like, my sister moved in that Monday when we got our keys, and then I moved in that weekend, like that Saturday. So they were in this apartment for a whole week before I moved in. And so I was like, I had called the lady, because I was like, hey, I still owe like about over $500 to this apartment, but I had to break it down into 2 separate payments just because of all the new bills that I had to get going in this new apartment. And so she was like, oh, well, it shows you only owe like $116. So I don't know where you got that amount from, but you only owe $116. So I was like, okay, well, that don't make sense, but shit, if you say I owe $116, then I owe $116. I ain't gonna argue down about it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then I'll have that paid by this week, like this Friday when I get paid. So this Friday that Friday comes around. I open my laptop up. I get on my little portal, and that shit says over $500. Like, I knew it was gonna say. So I was like, oh, so you lied to me. It's cool. So I'm gonna just do what the fuck I said I had originally called and said I was gonna do. And so I was like, I went in there to make a partial payment, and for some reason on the online portal, which I feel like apartment complex need to fix that shit, because there's people who have roommates and stuff. So I'm not gonna put in the full amount if that's not what I'm here to pay, because there's no option to do partial payments on the online portal. So I was like, okay, well, now I gotta call them while I'm at work to figure this out. So boo boo boo, called them up at work, and I was like, basically like, hey, the amount of money that I knew I was gonna have to fucking pay is on the online portal. So again, I'm calling to let you know that I'm only gonna be able to pay half of it today and the other half next Friday. But there's no way to do that, so how do I do that? And so she was like, oh, I'm sorry, that was before all your charges got put onto the thing. So that's why I said it reflected that you only owed $116 instead of the amount that you knew you had to pay. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. I'm just here to tell you what I'm going to do. She was like, yeah, it's best if you wait until you have the full amount and then pay the full amount next Friday. So I was like, cool, whatever, bet. Then Monday comes around. I just so happen to check my email. I never check my email anymore. I'm not even gonna hold you. I used to check it religiously. Like, when I checked all my other social medias, I would check my email. I don't do that anymore. But for some reason, I just so happened to check my email, and I seen I had an email from my old apartment complex, and so it had my thing, and it was like, okay, you didn't take this stuff out the shower. Boom, you didn't clean the oven. Here's your itemized charge list, like basically receipt of everything you're getting charged, and now you only have to pay $366. So I was like, okay, that's way lower than what you told me I had to pay. But I was like, okay, I'm assuming y'all took my deposit and paid most of whatever I had to pay, and then this is what's left over. So I was like, cool, bet, at least it's less money. So get to Friday, and I even went that Monday. I even went on my online portal, and it said $366 on the online portal. So I was like, cool, bet, I'll pay it on Friday. So again, we get to Friday. I wake up in the morning, I get on my online portal, and the shit says $0. So I was like, I'm so done playing with you guys. Like, I'm just trying to pay my last fees and be done with communication with y'all. So then I had to call again that Friday, and I was like, hey, I got my email saying I owed $366. Try to go online to pay it, and now it's not even reflecting the money anymore. And so she was like, oh, well, that's weird. She was like, you still should be able to pay it. She was like, you know, just go on the online portal and hit pay now, and then just pay the amount. And I was like, there's not that option. I checked. I was like, I literally was on it this morning. It says add a debit or credit card. And she was like, no, it should say pay now. And I'm like, lady, how are you gonna tell me what my own eyes are seeing? Like, I know I wear glasses, but I'm not that blind, bitch. Let's be for real. And so she was like, well, I can log into your online portal and see, so I'm just gonna do that. I said, bitch, do it. You're not gonna see what the fuck you're trying to tell me that I'm supposed to be seeing, so like, what about it? She ends up going on into my online portal, and she was like, oh, I see. Yeah, bitch, because why the fuck would I lie about it? And so she was like, okay, well, yeah, you're gonna have to bring us a money order. And I'm like, are you talking about right now? And she was like, Yeah, that would be nice. I'm at work. Like you think I don't got shit to do around here? I'm at work, lady. What do you mean? Come bring it right now. I knew like the Walmart down by the town I lived in. I don't know how everybody's Walmart money center works. Cause 9 times out of 10, the Walmart in the town that my dad lives in, there's never anybody in the fucking money order center. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to leave fucking work to go get this money order so I can pay this apartment complex, so this apartment complex can leave me alone. So essentially, that's what I had to do. That's what I went and did. Like, I left work early, got the money order, gave it to them. I was like, cool. Like, peace out. You got your keys. You got your money. Please stop contacting me. And essentially, that was like the last time I had to do anything with that apartment. So it was just like a lot going on. I'm so over apartments. Even this apartment has a whole bunch of problems, and we haven't even been living in here for 2 months. Like, at this point, just house me, please, because I'm over apartments, y'all. But yeah, that was essentially why I ended up moving out of my old apartment, and why I'm just over apartments in general at this point. Y'all can skip the whole apartment trails. Hell, even if your parents are letting you live with them until you're ready to move out, stay with them. Stay with them. It's not fun out here. Paramount said it fun, and it's not fun. Living in the real world, it's dead ass. It's not fun. Stay with your fucking parents. I promise you, there's nothing out here for us young adults. I promise you, please stay with your parents. That's my little story time on my apartment. I hope you guys liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. If you want to see more of my content, and subscribe and hit the bell so you know when I post. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Second every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Say if you a bad bitch.